Okie dokie. Well, once again, I did a video and it won't load. It disappears. So I'm reaching a point where I have this feeling that YouTube's against me. Uh, I see a lot of the stuff that they have on, especially people that are talking politics and what is really bullshit. They're not any of the real good people left on the air on YouTube running, doing videos and stuff like that. So I don't know that. I think a lot of independent people are getting scared off. I think they're being like this. They have this is some sort of conspiracy or something. I don't know. I'm not really into conspiracies. I think there's a lot of them go on every day, but who cares? They don't bother you. They're really part of life, unfortunately. What's that? Oh, okay. You see something in a video and I can't figure out what it is. It's behind me. But we talked about Trump trying to want to stay out of jail. He's doing things to manipulate the laws and whatnot so that he maintains his full immunity forever. I don't know what he's worried about. He's not going to live to spend that money. Barron's going to be spending it. Mulaney's not going to be able to. I don't think she's getting a lot of it either. And she'll buy shoes and stuff like that. But, she'll disappear into the woodwork. Barron is. I don't know what Barron is. Barron might be gay for all I know. He doesn't. He's not a nice guy. That much we know. He's as bad as his father. Could possibly end up being worse. But fortunately, there's no room in the succession of to the presidency for him. So he won't have to worry about that for a while, anyhow. Uh, it's possible they'll run him in 2028. No, you never know. Negus, but I don't think he's as pliable as Donald was. I don't think he's got that ultimate sneak in him yet. It takes a while to get there. Right now, he's just enjoying life, and he'll spend his father's money if he gets it. I don't know. You never know. Trump might not give him any money. You never know. But anyhow, he's working on staying out of jail, which is kind of disappointing. After he's president, he's worried about it. And I think he'll do something stupid when after he's president that won't be covered by by his agreements and stuff like that, and he'll just end up on the street, folks. Just something we have to watch and see what happens. That's just I don't know. That's stupid shit. Who gives a fuck? When he's not president anymore, nobody's going to care about him anyhow. Except some guys that want that he's screwed over. He'll probably, want to get even with them. We talked about ending this war in the Mid East. There is not going to be an easy thing. First of all, it's costing a fortune and it's running down the munitions and whatnot, and the military and what have you, which is going to affect places like Europe and uh, it'll affect Europe. It'll affect Ukraine because we're not going to have the munitions to sell to these people, or give them, or however we're working it out. Munitions business is a good business to be in because there's always a war. There's always somebody trying to kill somebody else. There's always somebody looking for a better bullet. So, but ending a war is not easy. It took years of negotiation to end the Vietnam War, and we basically ended up walking away. And the negotiations meant shit. They just gave us the time period to get out of there. So that but we left tons and tons of equipment behind that has since been, destroyed or modified, whatever. So, that wasn't a great that was a loss, a defeat. Talking about Vietnam now. Uh, we didn't do so good in Afghanistan when we went over there. It took us 10 years to kill the guy we wanted to kill, and then we were there for another 10 years or something like that because we don't know why we were there. Because according to everybody that I know about that talks about that country, and I don't know a lot of people, but they go around saying that uh, Afghanistan is nothing but a rock pile, and the Taliban helped even increase it because they had these great historical. I think they were Buddhists, statues of Buddha that they had. They were stone statues. They had them inside along cliffs and everything like that. And they went around and they blew up every last one of them and turned them into rock piles. Afghanistan doesn't have a lot of anything that really is. Maybe they have these minerals everybody's talking about. I don't know. I don't think anybody knows what they have, other than rocks, and other than the Iron Triangle, which used to be the heroin highway for the world, uh, opium and whatnot. I don't know whether if that's still the a big drug of choice. I guess it probably is because people are stupid, and they get lazy. They'd rather have their drugs pre-made by somebody else. They'd like to stick needles in their arms and whatnot. I don't mind needles. I take needles when I have to. I'm not afraid of them. I just don't like them that much. It's not my big deal. What else is happening? We have this situation in Mexico where there's about 4,000 Cubans that have been deported. That were deported to Mexico because they couldn't send them back to Cuba because Cuba wouldn't take them because they had been at it. Most of these people have been a good portion of these people have been out of Cuba for like 40 years. You know, it's very strange, but I didn't realize that. I'm not a big Cuban supporter. I mean, we're the reason that they turned communist because we didn't respond fast enough to Castro. So Castro and the Russians and the Chinese were there with their hands out, and money and everything else that they needed at the time, and they got that from them. They didn't get it from us. Uh, Cuba could have been well, I don't know whether it would have stayed what it was or not, but it could have been a nice spot. Uh, you know, they have imported a lot of American bass over there. Smallmouth bass, largemouth bass, Kentucky bass, and stuff like that. It's a good fishing place, uh, from what I understand. Uh, some of the pros went over there and fished, and they say it's great. They just they, they did the right thing. It could have been a hot tourist spot, basically what I'm saying, but they didn't want to. I don't know who didn't want to do it. The Americans or the Cubans, because I think the problem in the United States was the mafia wanted it to do it to go back the way it was, and the Cubans didn't want that. That's one of the reasons that they had the big revolution over there is to get rid of the mafia, and the corruption and the Batista and the corruption in their government and whatnot. And now Trump wants it back again, and I think he wants it back because uh, he wants to be able to be the one that beat Castro. Well, he's got a 94-year-old Castro running, basically not running the government, but still there. So he indicts him, which whether he committed the crime or not, that's not relevant. He's 94. He'll never live to stand trial. He'll be declared incompetent if he does stand trial. So this is, what are you doing, Donnie? How stupid are you? What the fuck is wrong with you? Just leave the country alone. Make sure they're not importing missiles and stuff like that, and just leave the damn country alone. You want more what voters? They're not going to vote for you. You want someplace to build another prison? Please. I heard I don't know what happened to Alcatraz. There was the alligator Alcatraz. I think is being was being shut down, but now I hear it's being used again. There's problems there. That's where the Cubans go. And then I heard that before they go to Mexico. And then I heard talk about that he wanted to reopen Alcatraz in San Francisco. First of all, I thought that that was turned back to the Indians, the Native Americans. I'm not sure that that's what happened or not. Uh, but I will tell you this: if it becomes a prison again, I want to see Dottie there. I want to see Dottie in Al Capone's old cell. That's what I want to see. That would be very rewarding for me to be able to see Don Donald Trump in Al Capone's old cell, wearing the same style prison garb that Al had to wear. That would be cool. It'd be very expensive because of modern technology that it makes it easy. It's much easier to break out of that place than it was before. And they may or may not have had a successful escape from Alcatraz. Nobody's really sure. There seems to be a lot of evidence pointing to the fact that somebody did do it, but I forgot the guy's name. They made 3 or 4 movies about it. Clint Eastwood was in one of the movies, but I don't know whether that actually happened or not. I don't know. I know there were swimmers that were of Olympic caliber that couldn't make the swim from the rock to the mainland. So I don't know if other people could do it or not. Who knows what's going on there? That's all part of the deal. As I said, I don't know what's going on with comments or anything else right now. YouTube seems to be having experienced its own problems internally or something. I don't know. I know the quality of the videos that you can watch on YouTube, the news shows and whatnot, that just have diminished greatly. There's only one or two that are any good anymore. Uh, I'm not sure whether that because they charge the money or whatever the deal is, that they're so busy trying to make money. Because the deal that I've told you, the deal is you put up these spectacular headlines and they have these uh, contracts where they get paid by the click on the website. So you see these headlines and you click, oh wow, this is a good story. You click on it. It's not. It's some bullshit crap. It's not really what you're looking for, but yet you've clicked on it and they've made whatever they're paying. I think something like 50 cents a click or something like that, 25, 50 cents a click. So they get 100,000 a day. They're making money, or a week rather, probably more like a week with some of these guys. Some of these guys are very, look like they're very professional. They have studios and everything like that, and it's pretty wild what they're doing. But I don't think that's gonna, you know, I don't know. It doesn't look like it's gonna continue or not. Their success, what have you. Uh, it appears that a lot of people that were working for Occupy Democrats still technically are working for them, but they have their own shows with their own video and their own, contract with YouTube now. So that's another story. We'll see. All right. And the last thing I talked about on the other video was the Knicks made the playoffs this year. Supposedly they turned it into the most expensive final, not just the final. They made it to the finals. They don't know, not sure who they're playing yet, but it's going to be the most expensive finals in the history of the NBA. What happened to what? It's like baseball. Kids used to sit in the bleachers They can't do that. They can't even afford to sit in the bleachers anymore. I don't know how people afford sports anymore. I really don't. I couldn't on my salary. I tell you that right now. I had season tickets to the Knicks back, in the early 70s. I don't think I could do it now, you know. Even if I had it based upon my last salary, I don't think I know I probably couldn't do it. Okay, that's it for me today. As I said, I'm still trying to get in touch with this guy that said he'd help me from YouTube, and obviously he's not doing that. So I'll have to see if I could try and contact him again. I have a couple of things that he said that I said before that I should try that I tried and they didn't work. I'm going to try them again and see what I can do. But in the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, have a great day. Still subscribe to the channel if you can, if you find a subscribe button. I don't know what's going on with that either. And I will talk to you guys on the live video tomorrow. I don't think I'm even going to try to post a video tomorrow. I think I'm just going to go straight to live. In the meantime, take care, guys.